Welcome, beautiful souls, to the 48th episode of the Perfectly Imperfect Spiritual Podcast. I'm your host, Marta the Medium, and today's episode is for every heart led visionary who feels the pull towards a more aligned, intuitive, and sacred way of showing up in business and life. My guest is Lisa Montgomery, an intuitive business strategist and transformational guide with over 30 years of experience scaling multi-million dollar ventures. She helps entrepreneurs and leaders bridge high-level business strategy with deep soul alignment. Lisa's journey from file clerk to executive to serial entrepreneur has been guided by intuition, resilience, and a divine calling to help others rise. She's known for spotting the energetic and structural gaps in a business and gently guiding her clients into clarity, momentum, and expansion. But beyond the boardroom, Lisa is a devoted mother of two, an adoring grandmother, a lover of beauty and creativity, and the proud companion of her dachshund, Bits. She walks through life with intention, joy, and deep trust in divine timing. Lisa, welcome to the podcast. I am so honored and happy to have you here.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much. We have so much in common, and yet we don't.
Yeah, I'm very curious where this conversation is going to take us, but I'm very, very excited. So I know it's going to be a very insightful conversation.
This
Mm,
morning, when I
well,
asked my guides, I was like, what's going to happen here? And they said, everything that you're supposed to say, you'll say. Everything that's going to help people will come out. I was like, okay, then I'm just not going to worry about it.
yeah,
I'll just do my thing.
perfect. And this
Yeah.
is what I
Yeah. Yeah.
love, and I would love any who's watching or listening to it. There's never anything to worry about when it comes to public speaking, when it comes to having conversations, whether they're recorded or not. The minute you're authentic and you're speaking from the bottom of your soul and heart, everything just flows.
It
Mm,
really does. And something that I did find that we do have in common that most people have, well, most people that I work with anyway, are everybody thinks they're going to go down this one path in their life and they pick it. And then there's this huge pivot that's thrown in there, right? And you did the same.
mm,
You had multiple things happen and now you are where you are. And now I am where I am,
mm-hmm.
living these totally
So,
kind of, and I call them like linear lives, like just using your left brain, powering
mhm.
through that. It's hard.
So could we talk about your pivotal, like those moments? Like maybe you can concentrate. Well, I don't want to limit you to one, but like
No,
what
that's
were
right.
those pivotal moments like for you, and how did you know it was time to shift into something more spiritually guided?
It's interesting because if I'm not continually learning, I'm not happy.
Mm,
And so I've gone through, I'm 65, so I'm up there a little ways.
mm,
And I've been surprised with everything I've done, although it felt pretty much in alignment. I was not, and I had lots and lots of psychic kind of experiences, seeing spirits, et cetera, and hearing things and all kinds of stuff. But I blew it off. I was like,
mm-hmm,
no, okay. And I ran from it as hard as I could. And what eventually happened, like with my last business that was a very successful travel business, is I just felt the love and the energy go out of it. It started to feel distant, and
mm-hmm,
I started feeling satisfied. And I was like, is it worth all the work to keep this going? And so then I bounced off to something else that I thought would be okay, just to kind of make the shift. And it wasn't.
mm-hmm.
And I just was forced into this. When 2020 happened, everything got quiet. All the voices got much, much louder. And I was like, okay, I've got to suck it up and do this and just see what's on the other side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense,
And
Marta?
yeah, it does. I've got many questions and many, yes, aha moments. Well, perhaps I'm just trying to think. Can we talk because you guide leaders through both like business structure and energetic alignment? I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious, how do those two elements come together in your work? And I'm curious, really, if you could
Oh,
share what that looks like if we think about the insight, like how does your session looks like?
Oh, what the
vibe
sessions
bridging?
look like. So it's interesting. Usually somebody comes in, and I like to have people for a while because then I'm energetically connected to them. All kinds of cool things happen, right? Because it's not just about the actual session, as you know, there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of energy around that. Um, that, you basically hold the container, and I'm in the energetic container with them the entire time they're working with me. So I get a lot of information from them that way. So that's interesting. But sorry. Um, So how that looks is people usually come in, and when I start talking, I have noticed that the first couple things that come out of their mouth is their pain point. They tell you their trauma
Mm-hmm.
right up front, whether it is a problem with another person on the board, or whether it is someone who is stuck in their business and feeling buried. It just
Mm-hmm.
comes out. And sometimes it's personal, sometimes it's professional, but it always goes together. So what I do is I'm like, okay, let's get really clear. And I happen to have the ability to like really see exactly what the problem is quickly. And so I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
let's go there. And we get it all cleared up around that. And then I'm like, what energy are we going to put behind that? And so
Mm-hmm.
I do teach them. It's like there's a lot of belief issues that get moved around. Um, there is, there are a lot of reflections on how they're seeing this in their personal life as well. Typically, there's always that thread that goes through everybody's entire life of when something that's happening in your personal life that you think you're keeping all private, it's coming out somewhere in your work life too, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is I want them to take ownership. So I
Mm-hmm.
want them to take ownership of what it is. I want them to be gentle with themselves. I want them to be proud of themselves. And I hold the belief for them until they believe in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And, as working with people over time, there's layers. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
thing they think is the problem. Like, okay, let's talk about that. And then we'll get to the real thing later. I know what's going on, but they don't. So
Mm-hmm.
does that help answer the
I,
question?
yes, and I love that you incorporate that energetic component into your sessions and practice. I'm curious, well, what's your view if you could expand a little bit? What are the things we are not taught when it comes to business, leadership, or entrepreneurship? What's missing from that traditional education, and what do you think is lacking in the mindset of young leaders stepping into the space today?
I don't think people have been taught to lead people. I think they're put in these
Mm-hmm.
management positions and these leadership positions, and they're excited for the ability to move forward and to try and lead, but they don't know what that really is. And one thing is, you've got to set people up for success, including yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
have to give them grace, just like you need to be giving yourself grace. Everybody's way too hard on themselves. Um, and the other thing is they don't understand that you need buy-in. You need to actually, you want these people to be better than you are. And
Mm-hmm.
for people to let go of their ego and to do that can be a challenge sometimes because that's our protection is our ego. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the top components for that.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the most common gaps you see? I know you've mentioned a little bit about like people's personal lives, like really everything is interlinked. I don't think we can separate
It,
like business work, but I'm curious about the most common gaps you see in people's well, like I want to say lives because it's all interlinked, whether we are talking about business, leadership, or personal.
it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
funny because they don't listen to themselves. They don't use their intuition. That
Mm-hmm.
is number one. Number two is they aren't taking care of their health. They aren't getting their sleep. They aren't taking a walk. They aren't getting decent nutrition. And they're burning themselves out that way. That's one. I'm always like, so how's your sleep? And they'll go bad. I'm like, okay, that's number one thing we're going to fix because without your brain working, none of this works. Right. Um, Another thing is they're so afraid to journal. It's the craziest
Really?
thing I've ever seen because when people get really 3D, meaning they're really into themselves, they've really got a problem, they've locked themselves down, they don't want to talk about it. They feel like it's just like it's this huge fear based thing, even to write down what's going on. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have some different processes around that to lighten that up. Um, Yeah, those are some of the main things: the journaling, the meditating, and teaching people that meditation doesn't have to be the sitting there in stillness forever, that it's a walk. For me, it's in my kitchen. When I'm shopping, doing things in my kitchen, I
Mm-hmm.
get more downloads. I'm like constantly picking my voice recorder up and going, okay, da da da, that kind of thing.
Mm. Do you think people like we're talking about leaders or people who have maybe like huge responsibilities when they come to your sessions, do you think they are scared of showing to themselves and to you that actually they're imperfect? Do you think there's
Yes.
some fear?
Yes, there's tons of fear about showing the vulnerability, because then are they are are they the person they think they are?
Uh-huh.
I
And
was
what
talking to a
happens when they
man.
realize? Yes, sorry.
Well, once they
No.
realize it's a safe space, that's one of the number one things I hear is like, oh my gosh, you're so safe. You're so
Mm-hmm.
grounded. And it really shows you how much fear people are living in a lot of the time, I think, that we don't realize. I had a gentleman yesterday at an event who keeps saying, I'm going to book a session with you. I'm going to book a session. And he came up all shy going, I know I keep saying I'm going to do this. So I said, look, first of all, I'm not sitting around waiting for you, wondering where you are. When you're supposed to show up, you'll show up.
Mm-hmm.
And but I said, it's just so, especially with men, I said, it is just so hard for men to show any vulnerability, because they've been trained to power through. They've been trained to like, no, I'm going to solve the problem. And everybody needs help. Everybody needs to be able to just, sometimes some people book with me, especially men, and they just talk the entire time. And I sit there and don't say hardly anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't feel like I earned my money there, but okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm. And what happens when they realize that they can tap into their intuition?
It starts
Uh,
getting really fun. It
mhm,
starts getting really fun, and they realize that they have had indications and they've gotten information before, and they just didn't understand what it was. And that's
mhm,
honestly, that's a lot of what was going on with me, because I've been an entrepreneur for years and years, and been in women's groups and friends, of course, and they would call and we talk about business, and I would get these things that would come through, and I would tell
mhm,
them and they'd be like, you're brilliant. I'm like, I'm not that smart. I don't know
mhm,
where that came from, and now
mhm,
I know. Now I'm like, oh no, now I know it's going to be part of my business sense, because I've been in business over 40 years, in businesses and in business. And everything coming from their spirit team, from my spirit team, it's just like, oh, here's all the information you need for them in
mhm,
that moment. And so they're
mhm.
quite transformational sessions. It's for me, it's just fun.
And it should be fun and it should be easy. Something that's popping into my mind right now is I remember, well, I have a background in marketing management, faculty of economics. I used to be used to using the analytical brain, but I remembered when I did one of the, was it a marketing course, something a couple of years ago when I was just trying to promote more my psychic mediumship business. And I didn't follow my intuition, and the program that I was enrolled, like the person wasn't really well, it taught me lots of reflections. But basically, when I was part of those various business groups, I was told you cannot be telling people that you are angel card reader, that you're a psychic medium. And she would tell me people are not going to treat you seriously. You have to concentrate on your, like PhD, your academic background, and then like speaking to the pain points and everything. I'm like, no, that stays because this is who I am, and people are going to either gravitate towards me because I am attracting soulmate clients. I don't want to work with anyone. And if there is anyone who's got anything against being a psychic medium, well, then they should not be in my energy. I am not here to convince anyone to believe in what I have to say, but I truly believe we should accommodate people's differences. So I think it was a really
Absolutely.
interesting learning curve for me to stick, and like I ignored basically the person who ran that program, and I said like, no, that stays.
Well, and good for you, because that is the biggest struggle that I see with people like us, honestly, spiritual people. I have a client that I had for a year she's absolutely amazing. And she's sitting here going, okay, I've been a reporter, I've been a lobbyist, I've done all these things. And now I'm going to come out as the psychic that I am. And there's a lot of fear there because there just is, right? She's so used to being in the public eye. And, I went through that too. And I was like, how do I do both? How do I do it and not say I'm doing it? And I finally just went,
Mm-hmm.
forget it. If people don't like me the way I am, there are other people for them out there. And
Mm,
that's the
I love
reason
it.
I say, that's why I have intuitive in my title.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, if you don't see that and you don't pay attention to it, that's on you. But I've never heard
Mm-hmm.
anybody complain yet. So, there's that. But it is something you have to claim because we're not trained this way growing up. We're not trained to pay attention to those. It's like, oh, listen to your gut, but nobody knows what that means. And they don't know
Mm-hmm.
that that's really an okay way to be. And one of the top things I teach people to do is understand how they feel. I'm always like, how do
Mm-hmm.
you feel? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? How does this one feel? How does it? So a lot of what I'm doing is just teaching them to have their own guidance system kick in
Mm-hmm.
and to be
And
aware of it.
could you talk about your own experiences and your own feelings, like Lisa before she tapped into her intuition and allowed people to see that intuitive part of her when you were running your businesses, and then like the moment when you realized now I have to integrate it, and what happened, and then the after effect when you've embraced it all.
Mm, that's a good one. Number one, I was a lot happier. I was so much happier. I felt so much relief that I was finally like, nope, you're just going to claim it and you're going to do it. And you've gone through a lot of things in your life that you've been afraid of. But guess what? None of those killed you, and this isn't going to kill you either. You're going to live through the day.
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, and a lot of that came with learning to stop expectations of other people. Once I
Mm-hmm.
let go of expectations of everybody else, that was the most freeing thing ever. And that was a part of this as well. And I've worked
Mm-hmm.
really hard over the years, like making sure that I've stayed in alignment with not, the four agreements, not taking things personally, etc. So between that, being able to let go of expectations of other people and step into this, it's allowed me to go through the healing I needed to go through in order to be really good at this and be able to hold the space for other people. I think that's one of the things people don't understand is when they work with somebody like us, that you are going to get healing, whether you may think you're just coming in for a reading and getting a question answered that you're going to feel better about, but there's healing in all of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then I truly believe we never stop growing and healing. And through the help we provide for others, we also get the reflections and we keep healing and ascending at that soul level as well. Like, could you talk about your, any aha moments or any realizations that you got while working and supporting your clients? What have you learned about yourself?
Oh, wow. Wow, Marta, hard question. What have I learned about myself? I've learned to trust myself. I've learned to
Mm.
really trust myself because you can't hold others in your hand and do your best for them if you aren't in full alignment with yourself and trusting yourself. And
Mhm.
through this process, and I've been like, it's like my guides and everybody were waiting. They're like, okay, you're finally clicked in. We're going to fast track you. So the last 3 years,
Mhm.
I've just been holding on because it's been really exciting and really crazy and a lot of ups and downs. And now I've forgotten the question because I just kind of got lost in that whole, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, what has happened
About
over all
what
this
you've
time?
been learning about yourself while
Oh, through
supporting your
sessions.
clients.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Basically, that I'm okay. That
Mhm.
it's like we're all so hard on ourselves. I see other people be so hard on themselves, and I'm like, are you doing that? Make sure you're kind to yourself. Make sure you're kind, you know, because I'm a Taurus Leo rising, man. All we want to do is run around and fix everything and
Mm-hmm.
help everybody and like do all the things. And you can't. Nobody can do that. So
Mm-hmm.
and the other thing I really learned, some people I work with, and is that there are certain kinds of things, people I want to work with, and certain people I don't, because I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I serve them as well. And that's why I'm like, okay, here, I think you need to go work with this person instead, or this person instead. So that's another coming back to my own truth, right?
Mm-hmm. I love it. And I've reached that conclusion some years ago as well, that I'm not for everyone. And I had initially various clients telling me, oh, I have more money than you have. Like, I need you to do this and that. I'm like, no, I treat everyone exactly the same, no matter what your income is. That's one
Mm-hmm.
thing. But also, you are not going to get transformation. I'm talking about my mentorship or maybe even the Psychic Mediumship Foundation course. So, like, don't expect growth and an ability to connect with your spirit team by just paying money and not being ready to do the work. So I know straight away and I use my discernment. That's why I do those introductory calls, because I want to work with people who actually are ready to face themselves, are ready to show up for themselves.
Exactly. I'm exactly the same, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
100%. Because
I'm
haven't you found that
curious.
you find some people that are just want to attach to you
Oh,
because their
yeah.
vibration, they're way low, and they're like, oh, there's that bright light. And it's like, but you have to be ready to grab your own light. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be, and I'm not somebody that, like, if you have a big victim person step in, I do these free group readings now. And they're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be business, but everything comes through.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some people come in that I don't know, of course, and they have these big stories, and I'm like, okay, that was your story. Now how are we going to move forward? I'm always about
Mm-hmm.
moving forward. And so if somebody's not ready to move forward, they want to stay in that story, they're not going to be a good fit.
Mm-hmm. I think it's so important to be aware of what we are yes for in terms of business, what we are no, and but for anyone
Hmm.
who used to be in the victim mentality, because I used to be in one, but as a part of my healing. I remember when I left an abusive relationship, I was just so frustrated at those TED Talks and motivational speakers telling me this story doesn't define me. I'm a thriver, and I'm like, no, I got hurt. Let me feel my pain. And I needed a year of so, not, well, first of all, like feeling sorry for myself and then receiving forgiveness from someone who's never felt sorry. But I needed to allow myself to feel that. And it took years for me to grow and to actually be able to say, oh, I'm a thriver. Yes, this story didn't define me, and I'm not stuck in the past. But at the beginning, I got so much frustrated because I'm like, I cannot be just a thriver. I need to let me feel the pain.
Well,
This was
and
my.
and you're one of the smart ones that does that, and that was so wise of you. I mean, this is where people really get into addictions and things like that, because they're just trying to calm it down. And that can show up as overworking. That can show up as all kinds of things. I'm like, sit back and just feel it. I'm like, go up.
Mm-hmm,
People show up. They go, I'm sorry, I'm crying. I'm like, nope, this is an emotional room. You do whatever you need to do. Just don't yell. And
mm-hmm,
no yelling. But other than that, and because there are a lot of tears. Men are the biggest criers. And I'm like, go. I'm probably the only person that lets you cry, or you feel comfortable or safe to do that with. And
mm-hmm,
it's such a release. Oh my gosh. But yes, I've had some of those relationships as well when I was younger, and I'm in a very good marriage now, so I'm very grateful for that. And even within the marriage, there are things that happen, and you have to have those conversations, and you have to work through things, and you have to go through many, many many victimhoods. It's like, oh
mm-hmm,
my God, this thing that happened. Oh my God, we're married. It's not supposed to
mm-hmm,
happen. And it's not even that big of a deal when you look back at it
mm-hmm,
later, but in the moment, but you do need to feel it, and do need to make a decision about, do I want to feel this way again? Is it worth feeling this way again and not having the conversation, etc. Or do I want to move forward and have a conversation? So
mm-hmm.
yeah.
I love it. And I think it's applicable both for the personal life and then business. And I'm so happy that we are talking about embodiment, that we are talking about the emotions, that we're allowing to talk about emotions in business, because I truly believe when we, well, allocate time and we allow ourselves to feel anything, then we're able to alchemize it and we're able to heal straight away. I'm getting that analogy. You might have seen that video, or was it a meme that I've seen? That is it cows that go to tornado, like the towards, like they don't go the other way around. They just go towards tornado because they want that turmoil to happen very quickly, and then it just passes,
Oh,
and then so they go through the fear, they go through anything challenging straight away. I might be like mistaking now the animal, but there is I'm getting
that's
a
interesting. That's really
download.
interesting, but it makes sense. And I'll tell you what's funny is after you go through the massive healings like we've gone through, now when something comes up, I'm like, oh, good. I can't wait to get on the other side of that. Let's just step into it and get through it, whether
Uh-huh.
it's, whether it's like a minor thing or whether it's a huge thing. It's like, wow, this is not going to be exciting to go through, but I'm going to be so excited when I get to the other side.
I love
And
it. And
that's when
this
you
is, I
need your
think,
community also.
yeah. Okay. So could you talk about the importance of support and the community?
It's the most important thing of anything, I believe. I think it's the
Mm-hmm.
one thing you must have. And you need to make sure it's with people that are in alignment with you, with people that, and I know I've said alignment about 15,000 times, which I don't usually do. So it must be important to say today. Meaning in your guts, it feels great. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it feels good. You're not with those people that are holding you back. You're not with people that are always, the wah wah, every time you say something like, that'd be
Yeah.
great, but you know what's going to happen. It's like, no, those aren't your people.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that you need to this was a big, I'm going to talk about this now since we're talking about community. It's a very big lesson to learn of why, as you ascend, you people are going to fall away. And it's going to feel
Mm-hmm.
very painful unless you understand why it's happening. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the birds of a feather flock together. And the
Mm-hmm.
birds of that are really happy and successful and supporting each other are going to be together. And the people that are afraid and kind of working and just kind of complaining how nothing's ever going to work out for them, they hang out together. So as you go through self development and get stronger and understand where you want to go, more people will come and people will go. And that's where you have to learn to just bless them and leave them.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love
I
it.
have a small personal community, and it is so, once again, aligned. And it's a great reflection for me when I go someplace that isn't. And I go, how does this feel? Does it feel like my group? No, it doesn't. So think I'm out. It's
Mm-hmm.
that simple. But you
Mm-hmm.
you have to have community. You have to be able to feel free to have those open, loving relationships with other people.
Mm-hmm. So, how can people find those communities or like-minded people? For those who feel lonely, for those who feel misunderstood, what's the first step?
Well, I think, Marta, don't you think that it's worth making a list of what those things are that you're looking for? It's like, and how do you look? How does that list start? What do I love? I love people that are energetic. I love people that are looking to the future. I love, because it's really a reflection of you, right? You want people like you, but hopefully a little step higher so that you're a little nervous about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how you're going to all of a sudden go, oh, wait a minute, I'm all that too. Once you get in there and you get to know people, you're like, I'm just like they are. It's all good. Um, yeah, because where I live, there are lots and lots of millionaires and billionaires and all those
Mm-hmm.
people. And I can be very intimidated by that. And I'm just like, they're just people. They've got problems just like
Yeah.
everybody else. And as you and I know, they show up and you think it's going to be one thing. And it's always just like it was for the person who, is making, $50,000 a year or something. Everybody has the same stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've realized that, and I've learned as well when I do mediumship readings, whether I read for someone famous, known, rich, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever category I'm going to use, like they're the same people. But also, I don't have that. Is it like the starstruck feeling? Because I don't think I try, but uh, I consider I treat everyone as one and equal. And actually, I've been having so much fun with people who are established in the industry because those people are so easygoing. They don't put so much pressure. They don't try to impress anyone. And there's so much joy and happiness while interacting with them. That's what I've also found out.
Mm-hmm. I agree
Yeah.
100%. It's very interesting. I think one of the key things too is you just have to stay away from all of the news and all of the garbage that goes on out there in order to still love humanity. And that's one reason
Mm-hmm.
people aren't trusting going into groups and doing different things, because you kind of get jaded about all of it and about people that have money and about people that are celebrities, and they're just people. There are a lot of good people out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And since we are talking about money, that's what I keep hearing. Then again, we get
Mm,
reflections everywhere. So if you're being triggered by someone having money, or if you're being triggered, or you are assuming that people who have money are mean or whatever, like ask yourself, where is it coming from? Because money's energy. Yes, it's not good or
yeah,
bad.
yeah, yes, it's interesting. I have a woman who's growing a bookkeeping business, and she's been doing all the traditional stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, this is about money trauma that people are having. She's trying to attract clients. I'm like, this isn't about they need a bookkeeper. This isn't about their business being stable. This is about they have money trauma, so they're not going to look at it. That's the
Mm-hmm.
reason they're not doing their accounting. That's the reason they're not doing these things. And for her, that was like a
Mm-hmm.
big step back. So it's there's so much money trauma. It's crazy. It's just crazy. And you're right, the reflection is very interesting. So it's like if you're like, oh my gosh, I just don't have enough clients, it's like, well, thank you for
Mm.
putting that out there. Now you aren't going to have as many. What you
Yeah.
speak is what happens. What you think about is what happens. If you think about lack, you will have lack. And this isn't the
Mm-hmm.
pie in the sky, Pollyanna. Oh, we just feel great about everything all the time. This is you must be intentional. You must be focused. I set intentions all day long, every day. Are you like
Mm-hmm.
that?
I set them in my mind, but what has just again popped into my mind, we are getting downloads as well, is I'm losing now. Jimmy's speaking now. Well, intentions. Oh, okay, yeah. What you concentrate on, you attract as well. I truly believe that when you're
Mm-hmm.
operating a lot through your logical mind, I'm basically concentrating on what I want to see more. So if we're talking about business expansion, I'm concentrating on the transformation and the beautiful clients that are investing in themselves and they're paying me money so that I can help them on their path. So I'm not going to be concentrating on people who maybe do not believe in what I do. As an example, so what you're talking about, like you've mentioned something that what we speak, like you become. I also believe that, like, if we want to be around more energetic people or more successful, I think this is an opportunity to do the inner work and to ask ourselves, how can I become that person? How can I give myself everything? And the minute you become, I feel that vibrationally you're attracting those, whether soulmate clients, whether we're talking about relationships. I don't know. Yeah, I had various digressions, but things that
No,
I want to
absolutely,
share.
absolutely. It's like when you decide what you want to be when you grow up, which is what I say all the time. Like, who am I this week? Who do I want to be this week? It's like everybody has so many changes in life. Um, but absolutely, once you visualize, and I do the same thing. I'm like, I visualize these beautiful clients that I'm helping, and I just love their success, and I love how fast they're
Mm-hmm.
moving. And here's the thing: what happens is a lot of times people do that, and then they just get stuck because they feel the
Mm-hmm.
vibration, even though they put it out there and it's basically created for them. they don't know the steps to get there. And that's where they come to me a lot, because they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, I'm so frustrated. I'm so stuck right here. They're not, the reason is just because they aren't used to seeing the steps. If it's something you did all the time, you know what to do and you go into it and you feel comfortable. And so it's like, it's okay to feel uncomfortable. Let's go there,
Mm-hmm.
but let's have that beautiful vision along the way. It helps pull
Mm-hmm.
you along. It does help you vibration match, because once you pull your vibration up to where that thing is, then voila, it appears.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
I love it.
actually,
Sorry.
and the other thing I was going to say is you've got to collect evidence along the way. And it
Mm-hmm.
may not look like what you think it's going to look like. Everybody's like, um, it's going to look like the blue box with the red bow, but instead what shows up is a red box with a blue bow. And guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not it, because I expected it to look like this. I'm like, when I'm
Hmm.
going, okay, it's time for more money to come in the door, I go, oh, I got another offer for a credit card here. Well, I don't want the credit
Mm-hmm.
card, but thank you for offering me money. I
Mm-hmm.
literally, that's what I do, is I see money everywhere. There's a penny on the ground. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There's more money for me. So there's some giving, some receiving. All of those things have to happen. You have to be ready to receive. You have
Oh
to be
yeah,
ready to
that's a big
receive.
thing. Mm.
That's huge, huge.
Mm. Could you talk more about setting intentions? Because you've mentioned that you do like to
Uh,
set
it's
intentions.
my
So for
jam.
anyone who's new, so yes, if you could speak
So
about
for
that.
anyone who's new, so it doesn't matter whether it's business or whether it is your personal life. One reason it's almost hard for me to distinguish the two is because I live in such flow now, which I'm like, how did that happen over a million years? But part of it is setting those intentions. I get up and it's like, oh, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great day. I can't wait. The weather's going to be whatever the weather is. But I kind of just start out that way. But then with everything I do, I get ready to take my walk. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel so grounded. It's like my intention is I'm going to get grounded. I'm going to, see something I love to see, and I'm going to get home, feel great. And like, I'll see a
Mm-hmm.
little armadillo playing by the road. Yay, thank you. There was my sign.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then as I go into work with people, I always just ask questions, ask for things to go well for them. I'm going to the grocery store. This is, everybody who's heard me on podcasts is like, she always uses the grocery store example, but it's so perfect, which is, I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to get there and there's going to be the perfect parking space for me. And as I go through
Mm-hmm.
the store, it's going to be the smooth and seamless experience. And I'm just going to walk out feeling energized. And I'll tell you why that's a big deal for me is because I used to walk through and feel everybody. I'm an
Mm.
empath. I can hear what people think. I have all the clairs, I have all the things, right? So I would hear somebody being upset over the prices of food, and I would,
Mm.
so it was very chaotic. So now I've set that intention, I set those boundaries, and I go on through my day. And to the point of going, oh, it's going to be really nice that this road is going to be clear for me to drive down.
Mm-hmm.
So I just do stuff like that all the time. If somebody ever was inside my head, they go, wow, she asked for a lot, but you know what? I get it too, so I'll take it.
Yeah. If you don't ask, you don't get it. So like you might as well ask for it.
Yes, ask. Why not? And if
Mm-hmm.
you run into a traffic jam, oh, this is time for me to reflect. I'll just relax and
Mm.
reflect and see what comes to me right now. So
Mm. And maybe it
I have all
happened
kinds
for
of
a
things.
reason, because maybe there was a car accident, or maybe you've been derailed or protected from something.
I always
I
look
like
at it
to.
like that. When I get that slow person in front of me where I'm like, oh my gosh, do they not understand the
Mm-hmm.
speed limit? You take the breath and go, thank you for protecting me from something.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for protecting me from the speeding ticket. Thank you for protecting me
Mm-hmm.
from possibly hitting somebody or something. I don't know. But that's how I
Mm-hmm.
always look at it. I try and be grateful a lot.
Mm, I love it. Could you take us through your day to day, or they don't have to be day to day, but let's start from day to day personal rituals or practices that really help you stay spiritually aligned, grounded, because you hold space for
Every
others.
yeah, you do have to hold space for yourself. I'm I feel a little selfish about it because I do so much of it. But
Please share, please.
every single morning I always listen to one or two Abraham Hicks shorts,
Mm,
because those kind of just get you in the if you've got your head in a funky
Mhm.
spot at all, if you wake up a little cloudy, or you had weird dreams or something, it's like, nope, that gets me back on path. And
Mhm.
then I always, I spend a lot of time with Lee Harris. I spend time with Wendy Kennedy. I spend time with you. You know, I do. I listen to different people in the morning, and as I walk, as I exercise. And that's a big part, is in the morning having, it doesn't have to be long, but it has to be something, because it just makes such a shift in your body. And we tend to like look for all the exterior things to ground us, and we don't even understand that's what we're doing for most people, but you really, really need it. So that's my first thing. And then I come in and I enjoy working and doing whatever I do that day.
Mhm.
But during the day, I do take short breaks. I will take 5 or 10 minute breaks and sit and just be
Mhm.
still. I make sure that the
Mm.
music I listen to is very conducive to what I'm doing. Usually no
Mm.
words to it. It's always some kind of nice music, that'll get me where I'm going. And then I really, really enjoy every day, 4 or 5 o'clock, I stop and it's time to cook. And that is a very meditative time for me as well. So sometimes I'll
Mm.
listen to things, sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll listen to a book that's a nothing book, but it's just like I need something that takes me out of the like headspace, and just it's just fun. Because another thing we don't do are fun things. Something I have clients do is make a list of 30 things they love to do. Some of them really struggle with that. And
Mhm.
so I have my list. And if I'm having a funky day, I'm telling you right now, it's like, okay, what's one of those things on my list I never do? Oh, there's a song I love. I go listen to it, kind of thing. So I have those kinds of things sprinkled in too. Um,
Mhm.
and then at night before I go to bed, I lay there in bed and I just talk to my guides before I go to bed. Okay, did I miss anything today? What do you want me to know today? Unfortunately, part of the time that makes me pop back out of bed and have to write a bunch of stuff down. I do some of my best creating. Then I get up on my computer. I'm like, oh my God, can't believe what I
Mhm.
just got. So um, anyway, that's my
Mm.
life.
Yeah. So why
Rinse
is
and
it
repeat.
important to bring more fun and joy into our day-to-day lives? And if you can share more from your beautiful list, because I think it's so important for people to know. Like
Oh,
for
the
those who
list.
don't,
Self-indulgent.
yeah, what can
Oh
we
my
do to
gosh.
have more fun?
Um, what can we do to have more fun? There are so many things. Connect with an old friend. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I love to read recipes because I cook so
Mm-hmm.
much. And it's something that I quit
Mm-hmm.
doing because I thought, I think these reading recipes is making me fat. So I quit doing it, and then I missed it. So I started again. I think it's really the eating part that's hard on that. But that's really, really fun. I do love to listen to different kinds of podcasts. I listen to different books. I do like to read. I like to mosaic. I do jigsaw puzzles. I I do exercise some. I love to talk to my friends. I love to lead my group. So it's really fun for me just to like pop in and go, oh, here, I want to share this with you guys because I think it'll help you, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
those kinds of things are really fun to do. I am a photographer, so I do photography. I love nature, so I go out and talk to my trees, um, play with my dog. You know, there's just so many little things, and joy is just so important because we've just gotten into this mindset that we have to go, 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 produce, 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 and we don't. We just need to be. We just need to
Mm.
like. It's like life before the internet, and I know you didn't have that luxury because you are a youngin', but I remember life before the internet. I remember it coming online. I was excited about it because I'm such a connector. I love to connect people and I love to like talk to people and everything. But yeah, that stillness, I another thing I love to do is I love to travel to places with no people. So,
Okay.
like, I've spent tons of time in Alaska, tons of time in the jungles of Costa Rica,
Mm.
places like that, to where I've noticed where the less people and the more nature there is, there's nothing like
Mm.
that feeling. So, even if you can't physically get to some place like that, you can find it online. You can watch a travel show. You can do those
Mm-hmm.
things, live vicariously that way. Enjoy it. Enjoy those experiences and those beautiful sights.
Mm-hmm.
I think you hit on something, talking about the things I love. Of course, I'm going to get
I
excited.
love it. I love it. And how to get excited about the business park? I'm curious whether we can um, change, or maybe you've already changed the notion of how people perceive business, but I'm curious whether business can be perceived as a spiritual path. And for someone in burnout or chaos, what's your invitation for reconnecting with the sacredness of their own work? I'm basically curious whether it's possible to treat your own like business, even though it's not perhaps spiritual, as sacred.
Yes. Yes, and it's interesting because I get a lot of people who come through. I say people who come through. That sounds a little impersonal, doesn't it? I work primarily with women. So women who come to me who have built these businesses and they've just kept adding things because it's like, oh, my customer wants this. I've added this. And they get really buried. They get really burned out. And they're to the point of going, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, but it's my income. I don't know what to do.
Mm,
I built this business. It's who I am. And I'm like, okay, let's get back to what you love about your business. What
mm-hmm,
is it you love to do? What is connected to you? So once you really connect with what you love, let's get rid of the stuff you don't love.
mm-hmm.
Okay. So then you're connected to that thing you love. And I actually have something that I call the CEO alchemy method. And that's
Okay.
exactly what it is. That's the clarity, that's putting the energy in, and that's having the ownership of it. And so that's
Mm-hmm,
what I do with them on this thing they love. And when I'm teaching them the energy of it, of course, anytime somebody's working with me, there's always all of the teaching them about their intuition. Let's talk about how you feel about it. Let's look at some examples of how things have come and gone in your business. How did you feel about those? Do you understand why this took off? Where was your head
mm-hmm,
at when that took off? And so then they understand that the feeling good, which is really their
mm-hmm,
soul and the joy of it, and having them in the business is why it's successful and why they
mm,
want to be there. That's
mm,
it's a beautiful thing. And
mm.
a lot of that is in creating boundaries around things to allow them to have that. Because we haven't talked about boundaries, but as you and I know, that is it's an area to be reckoned with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I keep hearing the word like messy in terms of the business experience. I'm like basically
Yeah.
envisioning business owners in the middle of growth and maybe feeling a little bit chaotic in terms of their thought process. So I'm curious what's one piece of guidance or maybe more you would offer to help them lead with both strategy and soul. I know you've mentioned about tapping to your intuition and having fun, but like a little bit more for those who just need to really. I know I have to try it to really believe that it works, but like anything that comes to you, like how can we lead both with strategy and soul?
Well, what's interesting I just started grinning when you said messy, because something I'm always referring to is you're in the messy middle of something. A lot of times people are
Oh.
at, like, it's just like a human life. You start out as a kid
Mm-hmm.
and you're being taken care of, and then you turn into a teenager, and boy, is that messy, right?
Mm,
That's the messy middle of your life, is that piece. And then you kind of,
mm,
your brain forms, you turn into an adult and you go on, and things can still be messy, but it's not the same as that chaos as of being a
mm-hmm.
teen, of being still a kid and being a teenager. In business, it's the same thing. So it is okay, you start, you have your vision, but then you realize there's all these other things you can do with it. And whether you're loading more products on to give to your customer, or
Mm-hmm.
whether you're just developing a lot of things there, it's messy. So a lot of it is just get back to the basics. And I'm saying gets messy until you like get it streamlined out to the other side. So get back to the basics of what you want to do. Get back to the basics. Why did you want to do it? And a lot of times what people do is they are so internally focused that if they will just flip the focus onto their customer, onto their client, onto who they serve, it lightens the load. And all of a sudden you realize it's okay for you to be a little messy, because you're coming at it from your heart and coming at it from the right place. And it's amazing how many problems that really solves.
Mm-hmm.
That comes
Do
up a
you
ton in sales. A ton in sales. People get all weirded out about selling people. So I'm like, this is something they're coming to you for. They're shopping for it. They need help. You're there to help them. Help them. you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you're not going to let your potential customers know what is it that you offer, they're going to go to somewhere else. They're going to invest in someone else's services as well. So I feel like we have a duty or responsibility as well to share with the world in terms of like attracting soulmate clients and perhaps making more sales.
Well, I think we do too, but it goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. Some people are for us and some people aren't. We're for some people and we aren't for some people. So if they come to you, you need to do your best to see if you're there to serve them. It's not all
Mm-hmm.
about you and your bottom line. And that's where
Mm-hmm.
people get confused. They're confusing with the money with the actual product that they're, the actual service they're doing for someone, the actual transformation they're giving someone, no matter whether it's selling them a product or selling them a service. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just have to be in the highest integrity in what we're offering to people.
Mm-hmm. Do you think working with integrity and then concentrating on being of service is one of the most important, well, things that are, you've scaled like many multi-million dollar ventures. Like, do you think that shift from like, oh, I just need to make money for the sake of like being rich to like actually concentrating on the customers, being of service, leading from the heart space, soul, like changes the dynamics? And I'm curious about that energetic component, and maybe you can speak about your own experience, how it really was energetically, emotionally, and spiritually when you maybe scaled your first
Well, and it's
multi-million.
interesting because what I can say overall is that when I really was happy and really enjoying what I was doing is when I was successful.
Mm-hmm.
And that is being spiritually aligned with it, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not on Wall Street trying to like do whatever it is they do there to make money. I mean, the money doesn't make me, the money is like this little ping, there's your thank you. But the actual having fun and mixing it up with people is where I really thrive. I just didn't understand why it made the difference until now. Right. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't understand that that was really my soul going, oh, yay, you're here helping people. This is what you love to do. And da 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 da. And like when I really discovered my purpose, which is to help people believe in themselves, it's that
Mm-hmm.
simple. Then I realized, oh, I've been doing that my whole life. So I just need to keep doing that in a way that's fun for me. Because when it's fun for me and I have the joy, then I know I'm aligned with it. Um, does that make sense, Marta?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Sorry, I can kind of get
Absolutely.
off into my head and like,
Uh-huh.
did I
Well,
answer the
we
question?
all have, well, all. I also have my spirit guides who interfere, and yes, so there are always so many. Well, digressions are welcomed, and we just go with the flow of the conversation. I have to ask you about your maybe most beloved like teachers, whether spiritually or professionally, and were there any books, mentors, or soul guides that truly shaped your path?
Mm. I feel like there have been I feel like there've been so many droplets that have been dropped in along the way. But I started out with Richard Knight, just like Sandy Serling did,
Mm-hmm.
um, with tarot, and that's how she and I met. And then Graham Norton,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
was in his circle for a year, and that was a wonderful, safe space to be held, to actually understand my abilities and to trust my abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And Lee Harris, huge, going through a lot of the work that he does. And the thing that I would say is just like when you feel something is truth, when you just go, oh, that's my knowing, I understand that, then you're with the right person. And at some point, if you kind of go, I'm not so interested anymore. Oh, it's time for a new teacher to come in.
Mhm.
So I will pop in like moonology, like Yasmin.
Mhm.
So is it Bulland?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So with
Yasmin
her, I
Bolt.
was like, I kind of listened to her for about a year or so, and I was like, okay, I feel like, okay, it's time for me to move on again. Now I listen to
Mm-hmm.
Cassandra Tinsdale. So I just pop around and listen to people while I'm aligned with them, and then I move on.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Four Agreements, my Bible,
Mm-hmm.
another one, The Science of Getting Rich. I listen to it all the time. It's from 1910. It's a very, very old book, but there's just a lot of soul truth in those books that you can go, oh, I forgot about that piece. Yay, let me reincorporate that. Let me keep that on top of mind. You know, so it's just a big old spiritual mess in here, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And so, from where you are now, what matters most? What do you believe are the true essentials, not just in business, but in life?
And to me, it's all the same thing because our businesses are an
Mm-hmm.
extension of our energy. I think everybody can agree on
Mm-hmm.
that at this point. The most important things, honestly, for me, the most important thing is for me to have time to myself. I know that sounds
Mm-hmm.
awful, like selfish, but it's like, no, I have to have that time. I have to have that space. I have to have that creative. I have to have the creative outlets. So for me personally, that's the most important thing. And you got to realize I have this very stable, um, grounded partner. So I can be
Mm-hmm.
as floaty as I want and be all over
Mm-hmm.
the place. And he's always going to be this stable,
Mm-hmm.
grounded partner. So I feel like that is a huge influence as well for happiness for me with how I've built
Mm-hmm.
my life. And, the relationships you have that just make sure you honor them and you love the people around you and lead with your heart. Some people may go, oh, that sounds a little cheesy. How do you lead with your heart? You just do. You're like, oh, what does my heart say about this? How do I feel? It's interesting because my business before this was a luxury travel business, but it was all men. It was high-end sports fishing around the world in very
Mm-hmm.
remote locations. So I only worked
Mm-hmm.
with men. Now, going into this, it was like, oh no, how do I make this switch? And what I realized, I wasn't ever allowing myself that space of feeling, of really
Mm-hmm.
feeling into my business, of really with my clients, because with the men, I
Mm-hmm.
know what to do with them. They're very simple. So they really are.
Mm-hmm.
And not stupid, just simple creatures. We make it way too hard. Um, but now that I'm allowed to really use my heart in my work this way, it's just the most joyous thing ever.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And well, you've mentioned about I know we've been talking about your spiritual side, which is incorporated into your whole being, but what's the final message you would like to leave the viewers and listeners with? And I'm curious whether you want to channel any guidance, or I know you also have some tarot decks or maybe oracle decks, whether you would like to maybe pull something. I love putting people on the spot.
I was
I
going to
keep
say, that's
channeling
exactly what I
spirit
heard. She's
guides.
putting you on the spot.
And I keep hearing, I think your spirit guides, like you must have someone who
Oh,
really
they're
pushes
bugging us,
you.
huh? Well, it's funny because
Uh,
I pulled the sun card for us this morning, right? Going, oh, it's just
mm-hmm,
going to be bright, fun. And the sun is big in my chart. So anytime there's
mm-hmm.
anything with the sun, I'm excited about it. I just keep hearing, I keep hearing that we need to talk about business and
Mm-hmm.
that, um, mm, how interesting. Okay. Let's like pull out all the major arcanas here. So I know that there have been people out there who feel like they have tried everything, like they have been just, I know this is going to sound kind of negative after everything we were talking about, but this is what's coming through. Um, that they have put their hopes and dreams into things and they haven't worked out and that things have fallen apart. However, to really look at that as the rebirth that it is, that it is really about the fact that you may have chosen this path and that's fine, but realize that since it really isn't where your soul wants to go, it's going to take it down and ask you to start over again. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I literally pulled like the death card,
Mm.
right? That was
Mm-hmm.
one of them. I have the star, I have the tower, I have some other things here. Um, this is very interesting because I've had multiple people, very successful businesswomen this week, come to me. And I'm like, is it Mercury retrograde that's causing them all this? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. But to where they're all going through this identity crisis right now of going, oh my gosh, I don't know if where I'm supposed to go now. I don't know if this is who I'm supposed to be now. I don't know those things. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I should pop up over here and do this. And I'm like, you can go and do that. However, you're going to get to do it all over again until you get aligned with what you really, really want to do and who you want to be in
Mm-hmm.
that space. And that's a very important message because that can be for anything in your life. If you jump from one relationship and just go, oh, but look, there's a shiny light over here of this next relationship. If you haven't healed yourself from that first one and know what you really want that second one to feel like, other than just to feel that good chemical reaction, you get to go through it all again. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why I keep dating these men that are all like XYZ. Those are the
Mm-hmm.
only ones. And I'm like, well, hello, you're attracting them, and you're not taking that quiet time to figure out what you really want in life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to change throughout life, so be easy on yourself and go, wow, I went down this path, I thought it was the right one. Well, it wasn't without its learning, and it wasn't without its problems, right? And it wasn't without its
Mm-hmm.
joys and its perceived failures. I just call it, experience. Just like, oh, what was
Mm-hmm.
that experience? Not the one you wanted. That's okay, let's go have another one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really the message here, because you can really have whatever you want, however
Mm-hmm.
that looks to you.
Mm. Beautiful. Well, thank you
Yeah, they're all
for that.
excited now. They're like, finally, you got it out. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yes. No, no, no. Yeah, I'm feeling excitement as well. And finally, how can people work with you and where they can find you? And of course, I'm going to add all of the links to the description of the podcast. So, how to
um,
work with Lisa?
how to work with Lisa, you can book a discovery call at
Mm-hmm.
theguideline.com, or you can come to one of my free intuitive readings. They are business readings. I have one I have a couple in August, but I don't think this will be out by then. So just check my socials, check my website, and you can see where to pop in and have one of those conversations.
I love it. Well, thank you for this beautiful, insightful conversation. I had so much fun speaking with you. Thank you.
I did too. I did too. Thank you, Marta. I really appreciate you and everything you do for everyone. I knew the
Oh,
first time I was on a call with you on Instagram, which
mhm.
and you did a short reading for me. I got that crackly, I call it sparkly energy, and I was like, "Oh,
Mm.
she's for real. Let's see what's going
Mhm.
on here." And so every time I'm connected to you, I feel that. So I just love that
Mm.
about you.
Thank you. And, well, I don't have to preach. We keep mirroring at each other, and I love your
Mhm.
energy as well. So, thank you as well. I appreciate you. And I want to say thank you to all of the viewers and listeners. Goodbye. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.